Well, hello there. It's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. I'm coming to you uncut today. I left my headphones out in the other room. So welcome. If this is your first time here, I'm Yvonne. I'm the founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures. And I have been doing a live session here on Facebook and also on YouTube now, on our YouTube channel, for almost 12 years. And thank you for letting me into your space weekly. So let's follow along. And today, something that happened inside our member group caused me to use that as today's topic. And it was a reflection. It was our gratitude challenge that we've just done. And it was a reflection on then and now, which is why I'm bringing this segment to you today. So follow along. If you have a then and now story, I'd love for you to share it in here or send it to me separately, which would be great. So what do we do at Women's Fitness Adventures? If you're new, you may not know, and if you've been around for a while, I do hope you know that we teach, we train, and we take, or if you want to come with us, women on awesome, wonderful, transformational hiking adventures in Australia and around the world. So we teach you the skills, we train you for those adventures, and then we take you on our wonderful adventures, or you take yourself off on your own. So that's what we do: outdoor connection, women, friendships, travel, all of that. So the comment that sparked this conversation today in our gratitude challenge was a picture of her screen, her laptop screen, and it was during pandemic times, and said, "I'm so grateful for this during the pandemic time. Women's Fitness Adventures has come a long way since then, and so have I." And that got me thinking about how easy it is for all of us to think about how far we have to go with the things that we want to do and want to achieve. And we tend to forget how far we've come. And we had our Welcome to Hiking bundle on the weekend. We run that regularly in Brisbane, and then we run workshops in different locations around the country as well. And we often feel when we're first starting out in our hiking, or when we're stepping up to our next level of hiking, that we have to kind of be there already. We forget how much we brought with us where we've come from. And we think, I just have to be in that next location, that next level, that next this and that. And it is all about that reflection on how far we've come, because there's always going to be somewhere else that we need to be, somewhere down the future. So that also prompted me to think about, well, where have we come from as Women's Fitness Adventures, and where are we going, without focusing too much attention on how do I get to where we're going, but, where have we been? What have we been doing? Some of you know what the journey's been like, but I thought I'd recap on that journey, because when I look back over it, and this is a very condensed version, there's a pretty good kick-ass journey story in there that I'd like to share with you. So hello, Karen, and hello, Kerry. If you're watching live, please let me know where you're watching from. And as always, ask questions and put comments in the chat spot there as well. So we're almost 12 years old now. We started from absolute scratch. We started from about 12 women who wanted to come on a hike with me on the Great Ocean Road in Victoria, the Great Ocean Walk as it's known now. There were 12 of us. We really just had an absolute blast, and halfway through they said, when are we going to do that again? So I was a gym owner at the time. I knew that there were women out there who wanted to connect in the outdoors, who wanted to travel, who wanted to bushwalk, as it was known then, or hike. But I didn't really know how that would come together. So that's all about having, that faith and confidence in yourself. But it's all about teaching and training yourself to figure out what might come next, even if there is no roadmap. And so I knew that there was also and I was talking to some of our Welcome to Hiking bundle members on Saturday, who asked me about how it all started and what my background was. And having been a gym owner and, a marketing director for a big global female fitness franchise, I knew that women wanted more than just going to the gym. They, especially women over 50 or over 45, who were getting to that, what society calls that invisible age. So I knew also that friendship was really important, that we, when we lose those institutions, that friendship becomes important. But there must be other women like me who wanted to try all this new stuff, but didn't have the people to do it with, wanted the safety of being in a group, but also wanted to be okay with not knowing everything, that not having to be perfect, not having to be the expert at it before you started was a really great place and great environment to be in. Because let's face it, there's nothing worse than showing up somewhere and everyone knows what to do and behaves like they know what to do and makes you feel that, you should know what to do. That is not the space or not the environment that I wanted to create. So over the 12 years, I've really been focused on that it is a space where women who love the outdoors, women who love or want to love hiking, women who want to make new friends, and women who want to build connections and travel or meet up together can do in a really non-competitive, safe, as in supportive environment without judgment as well. So that's what I've been doing for the past 12 years. But along the way, that began with just that first hike and that dream that this must be possible. And when I liken that to the dream and the journey of a lot of our members, what starts as a dream of, I would love to do that adventure, once you commit and you take that faith and have that belief in yourself and you keep showing up doing it, you may not get it right the first time, you might not get it right the second time, but at some point it switches and you gain that momentum, and that dream that you had soon turns out to be a reality. And that's when technically you need to keep going, that you get to this point where you've been successful, and that's not the time to give up. That's the time to keep going. So hello, Kim. Hello, Christine. Hello, Sharon. And hello, Sandra. And then over that 12 years, because of all of our members and their success, we've become this global community. We've become this, hub for online training. And we've also become known for our adventure experiences. And today I got an email from a lady who, when we asked her why she joined, and she said, I'd heard so much from you about how professional your organization is and the adventures that you take and everything you deliver inside them, that how could I not be part of this? So, it's easy for us all to move forward without thinking about what's actually changed, how much we've grown, what's actually happened, not just for me in my business, but for me personally as well. What have I grown? What have I stepped into fitness wise? What am I doing that I never once dreamt that I would think possible, but in each of us as well. And I encourage you to reflect on that. We may think sometimes that I'm not progressing as fast as I want, or it's not turning out quite the path I thought I would take to get there. But if we think back about where we once started and where we want to go, you'll soon see, provided you're showing up, that the path is taking you maybe in a little bit of a roundabout way, but where you need to go. And there will be setbacks along the way, and there will be points where you think I'm taking 2 steps backwards and no steps forward. And that's the time to dig in. That's the time where the road might get a little bit rocky, or the trail might get a little bit rocky, and we can doubt ourselves, but that's the time to go forward. So when I reflect on our the Women's Fitness Adventures business journey, it's very similar to a hiking journey. All the obstacles and all the little hurdles along the way, all the conditions that are there to deviate you from the path, and all the forks in the road are exactly the same as perhaps our life, perhaps a business if you have it, or your job, or anything like that. So the trail teaches us a lot about life, but it's only when we look back and reflect, I got to the fork in the road. What choice did I have? Did I follow the plan? Did I follow the path? Or did I go forge my own way? No, all of those things relate to our path. And I know for many of you watching, you've had some of those forks in the road. Some of you are sitting right at those forks in the road now. Should I, shouldn't I, will I, won't I? Only you can answer those. We can guide and support you, but they're all part of our journey. But the important thing is to look back at what you've done and where you've come from and go, okay, did that serve me well? And what can I do then going forward, knowing I have that capability and that knowledge that I've already ticked off. Hello, Leonie, and hello, Kath, as well. Nice to see you again, Kath. So, if I also look back, so 2014 was when we did our first hike, but we'd kind of been training for that back in 2013. And, we kind of were doing domestic for a little while, and then I went on a holiday in 2016 over to the Cinque Terre, and that's when our first international adventures began, because I got back and everyone said, well, when are you taking us there? And it was that leap of faith again, that belief that, yes, we could actually run and teach and train people to go on international adventures with us. And over the course of this, 12 years, we have the most amazing contacts. We have the most amazing hiking guides and people on the ground in locations that we would never have dreamt possible either. But we also, it was probably around the same time, 2016, that I started doing the lives here as well. First, they were on a Saturday Night Live, then Sunday Night Live, then Monday Night Live. So it's been Monday Night Live for a good couple of years now. But just showing up regularly so that you know that we're real. And especially today in a world that I question every single day inside my socials, is that real? Is that a true story? Because you just don't know anymore. So by me showing up regularly for you, and I know our members show up regularly for me and for each other, then that all moves us forward in the journey as well. But we also, around the time of the pandemic, we had been contemplating with the idea of doing our online fitness training and our, other online events. But of course, we were so busy doing in-person stuff that we didn't have time for that. So when I look back, and we were just chatting today, Kath, about how the changes and the things that happened during the pandemic, and looking back now, it still seems very unreal, those times. But it enabled us to do some of those things that we were not able to get to, and start delivering all of the online programs, which we were doing long before, lots of other similar type groups in the industry were doing. And we believe that that has really helped teach and train all of our members to be successful on their multi-day hikes. And as I said, whether those hikes are with us or not with us, but we know that if you follow our training programs, you will be adventure ready. But we also then were able to, during that time, realize the Couch to Mountain dream, which was, we always get emails about, why can't you be where I am? I live in X, I live in Y, I live in, the back of nowhere, I live in this other location. And I'd always wish I could clone myself, but it's just not possible. So we were able to realize the dream of our Couch to Mountain program, of how could we replicate our programs so that every woman could participate no matter where she lived. And I know we have a lot of members of our community that live not in capital cities, and the great feedback I hear from them is that you're finally doing things that I don't have to show up to a big city for, things that I can access no matter where I live. And that was really how the Couch to Mountain program evolved, and it's now in its 5th year, and it's changing lives and setting women up to be super successful for multi-day hiking. And once you go through that program and follow that program, you're pretty much set up for taking on any trail in the world that you want to. The important thing is, and we know we did independent research around that too, is that if you follow a training program, if you set your sight on a goal, and we independently researched before the adventure, straight after the adventure, and 6 months after the adventure, and we did that across 2 separate years, that if you committed to a training plan and you committed to a goal, then you were more likely, it wasn't more likely, that it was real, the data, you gave yourself more time for your health. You gave yourself more time to move. You prioritized yourself. So not only did you have your overall number of hours that you exercised per week had increased, and the number of days that you exercised per week increased, but we also found that it was the mental health benefits of that program as well. So not only were we addressing the physical, which has huge implications for health, but we were also addressing the mental health issues as well. So around self-confidence, self-esteem, priority to self as well. And those have bigger ripple effects on not only yourself, but on every single person around you. And I received a beautiful message the other day. I won't read it out and I won't identify who it is, but she said, you will never know the impact. And I do know because I saw it firsthand when we came home from an adventure, and I saw what her doing that meant to those other generations that were there waiting for her. And she said, you will never know the impact that you've had on my life and on those around me, because someone in my life was in a hiking situation, a grandchild, and was really, wanting to get to that point X on her trail, and thought it might be too difficult. But I dug down when I thought of you and all that you have achieved, and that's what got me through. So thank you so very much, was the granddaughter's message. You have inspired me way beyond words. And then she passed that message on to me, which was so beautiful, because we never know. We never know, and I say this a lot, how our actions may inspire someone, how our actions may be the legacy for someone else. And by all of our members showing up and doing, playing out your role in your training and your commitment to your health and to your wellness makes such a big difference as well. But even commitment to friendships and being open to suggest and, jump in and make new friendships, because it gets harder and we get stuck in our ways, and we are all a little bit shy, and we all don't want to go up to that person and say, I'm new here. So finding those connections as we get older or move away from our institutions is a whole lot harder. But, as the weeks roll by coming up to Christmas, I'll be sharing some then and now stories. And I've seen a few of our members who I'm friends with on Facebook, their then and now stories, which are all about adventure and just how far everyone has come. And I hope that inside each and every one of you that you can see that as well. But we also started with maybe 50 people following us on Facebook, and we're well over 22,000 people now on Facebook. Now, granted that, not many people see it. That's just the way the algorithm runs. But the fact that people want to be part of everybody's journey, to be inspired by relative strangers to get out there and be active and, be that purpose for motivation is a really big thing. So if you've got any comments or questions or want to add something, please do. But I have always believed from the very beginning that when we go on hiking adventures, and we were a novelty when we started, and I was talking, and we still are, women hiking are still a novelty, older women hiking. And I rationalized it now when we're out on the trail and we hear, younger people say, good on you, ladies. Look at those ladies go. Good on you. Isn't patronizing. It isn't, anything other than, I don't see that very often, and isn't that great, because we might think, for all of us who hike, that we're normal, that is what everybody does. And let me assure you, it is not what everybody does. So, I just think that, like I started that point, that we've always believed that if we teach you and train you for adventures, then that transformation happens when you're out on the trail. And whatever that trail is, be it a 3-hour or a 3-day or a 7-day or 10-day or whatever it might be, it really helps with that transformation. But it's also the knowledge. And I often just think in my head, a lot like a lot of us do with our training, I just have to get to that next benchmark. Before I can commit, I have to get to that. And I can't make any decisions till I've done that, or till I'm here with my fitness, or I'm there with my fitness. And I often think that too with my business, but I've had to let go of that, because I don't know what I don't know when it comes to running a business, but I do know what my business is. And I think the same with hiking is, we don't know what we don't know. With our fitness level, we don't know what we don't know. We can often become scared with our fitness in terms of hiking uphill or downhill. We're terrified maybe of hurting ourselves, or feeling uncomfortable or out of control or out of breath. But we need to keep pushing the boundaries. The body is an amazing thing. And, we need to know when we're hurt. We need to listen to those whispers as well. But we can often think, is it the head or is it the heart? Is it the body really telling you that it needs a break, or is it just your head going, I want the easy way out? So have a think about that with your training as well. But know that as you train more, and it's the same in business, as you do more, as you train more, you gain that confidence and you gain that belief that what was once out of reach is actually going to be possible as you keep going. So we have been doing online sessions for our adventurers in terms of our Ready, Set, Go meetings since our adventures began. Not so much the online right in the very beginning, because Zoom wasn't even invented then. But as soon as we were able to do that, which Zoom came in about 2018, I think, we were on Zoom, we were meeting on Zoom, and we connect wherever we are, so that you can meet your fellow adventurers in that space. We talk about trail conditions, really important. We prep you for all of the adventures. And it's so nice now that some other organizations are starting to do those, which means that more and more women can find their way safely and confidently in the great outdoors. But I'm really proud that we've been leading the space in women's hiking and women's outdoors since we began. And we're always focused, and we get this all the time, on safety, always focused on women's safety, which is why you won't see us hiking in 39-degree heat, because it's not just about getting through the hike. It's about how our bodies are going to feel and recover afterwards. And even this morning, it was 31, which we normally can hike in 31, and we did, but the humidity was pretty high. So whilst we did a 3-hour hike, we did a nice version that was slow and steady in the heat. It was a bit like pea soup this morning, but we mixed it up with, instead of our normal hiking, which is hill repeats and stair repeats and things like that, we just mixed it up with some different ways that we could hike, some different pace mechanisms, some different strength mechanisms that we could do along the way. So whilst the last little bit coming up the hill might have been a little bit challenging, just because it had got warm and it was quite still, the rest of the hike was able to focus on some skill things, which really helped everyone. So, I reflect on the past 12 years, and never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that, I would be sitting here talking to the computer every single week, having been a small part in the lives of so many women across so many locations, and had the opportunity to be a part of the health and wellness journey of so many women. And, I think for our adventurers, perhaps never in the wildest dreams would have been, the opportunity to become as physically active through outdoor hiking. There's other ways to become active, or to meet some of the connections. I often hear from women that, it's the female friendships that they've formed, or for women to go to places that, they wouldn't go before. I've had, quite a few members who have traveled with us overseas for the very first time. And that's a real, gift for us to be able to share that journey with women as well, where we take you beyond what you once thought possible and do it in a safe and supportive environment, and make such an impact on your life, and you take that back and have an impact on all of those around you as well. So as I look towards 2026, and I say that now because it is November, and you think, what is she talking about that year for? Because it's right there on our doorstep. I can't share with you all the things we're planning, because that would be giving it away, but it is shaping up to be one of our most exciting years yet. We've, always been at the forefront of women and women's training in hiking and in the outdoor space, and what that looks like. And next year promises to be no different in terms of, being that leader in that space. How we go about the programming and what that programming looks like is something I'm not going to share with you yet, but you'll see it soon enough. But there is a lot happening behind the scenes, and as that starts to build up and gets to ready stage, we'll be sharing that with you. But have no doubt that at the forefront of everything we do is our members, and that it's all about making you stronger for hiking. It's about making you safer for hiking. It's about making you strong in your body and strong in your mind as well, so that you can have that confidence to do all those things that you want to do in the world, no matter where you are, no matter what your age, no matter what your fitness level, but have that opportunity to experience life in the great outdoors. So if you have been part of our community for a while, and that while could be a month or it could be the whole 12 years, and I know there's a few of you there or somewhere in between, then I would love to hear your then and now story, and I will be reaching out to some of you. So where you started and where you are today. And I know some of you on here have shared that with me already, and we'll look to formalize that. And the stories, why do I ask for stories? Because stories remind other people that change doesn't happen overnight. We look at all the stuff on social media now, and, everybody's trying to sell everything. And we think that things are instant, and we think that things are easy. And if we just take this pill, or if we just do this, or if we just do that, or look at her, she went from here to here in 3 days, and, or he ran this and this hike and blah, 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 blah. Nothing is instant anymore, not the good things, not the things that are worth waiting for. And the instant things come with sacrifice. But your stories remind others that change doesn't happen overnight. If you think about where you started and where you are now, that change didn't happen overnight. That change happened through you showing up with consistency. That change happened with you showing up with an open mind, with a good heart, with, a willingness to learn and a willingness to share that knowledge as well. And change happens when you stay connected and you stay consistent. And there was a little quote I heard, and it said, let me read it to you. Let me just pull it up here and I'll read it to you because I thought it was really, really relevant. Let me just find it. And it was here. The hiker said, "Can I skip today's training?" And the coach said, "Of course you can." And then the hiker said, "Well, what about if I skip 2 days training?" And the hiking coach said, "It's up to you. It's totally your choice." And then the hiker said, "I'm just going to take the whole week off because I don't feel like it." And the hiking coach said, "Well, it's your choice. No one's stopping you at all." And then the hiker said, "Can I just do my hike training when I feel like I'm in the mood?" And the hiking coach said, "Of course you can. Absolutely." And then the hiking person said, "So what can't I do?" And the hiking coach said, "You can't expect results without consistency. So you can't show up to the adventure with a when I feel like it attitude or when I feel like it effort." So everything is allowed, of course, but it's not everything that builds you into the hiker that you want to be. So the choice is simple: comfort today or hiking skills and ability and fitness tomorrow. So every skipped training opportunity is a vote against the hiker that you want to be. So that's pretty powerful. And I just went, oh boy, I'm never going to skip a training session again because it does show up down the track. And you can tell that. So if you have a story to share, I would love to hear it. I'll be in contact. I know many of you have amazing stories and we can share as little or as much as you want. And I'm going to start sharing some of those from next week. So what is going on this week inside the community? We have our teams just finishing up on Kangaroo Island and finishing up in New Zealand. Yeah, it's nice, Christine, isn't it? And we still have a few spots left on our Tarkine for January. So we will be closing that adventure off in a couple of weeks. So it is in school holidays. So if you are a teacher or someone who needs to be, taking holidays on school terms, that is perfect walking holiday for you. We have one spot left on our North Island in New Zealand for February. And Kerry, you'll be pleased to know, Anne booked in. We have 4 spots left on Japan for April, and then some spots left for Larapinta in June. That's it until the second half of the year. We've only got 2 of our adventures up for the second half of the year. So if you're thinking of adventure and you're thinking, how do I get started? I don't know where to start. I don't know how to train. Then we have got you covered. And if you are watching and you think, I've got my own adventure booked, and I still don't know how to train, then get in contact, because that's what we do. We will teach and train you. And of course, we'll take you if you want to come with us. So there's online training this week as well. So I have a new saying about that. We have one of our members from Western Australia who will show up at 6:30 on Thursday mornings and 6:30 on Sunday mornings, Brisbane time, which means it's 4:30 in her location. So if you are ever thinking, do I get out of bed and show up for that? Just think of that person in WA who literally without fail will show up unless she has another commitment at 4:30 in the morning. Okay, so we all make time for what's important to us. Sometimes we have to make time to heal and for wellness, but we also need to make time for those things that are going to make us stronger, because as we all know, time does not wait. It does not wait at all. Another year is almost over. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love your comments. And if you want to know anything more, just drop them in here or email me directly. So thank you. And I look forward to catching you up next week. Bye.